Chosen one. Pause for a moment. The fact that these words are finding you right now is not an accident. The noise of the world may be loud. The weight on your chest may be heavy. But heaven itself has pressed pause so that you would hear this truth. You were never created to be ordinary. You were not sent here to blend in, to be swallowed up by the shadows, or to merely survive. You were placed here for a time such as this, chosen as a torchbearer, marked to lead others out of the darkness. I know you have felt it, that stirring in your spirit, that quiet unease when you see injustice or pain. It burns in you when others walk away. But you remain awake at night, whispering, there has to be more. That is not weakness, that is the divine spark inside you, urging you toward your destiny. The trials you've endured were not meant to destroy you, but to awaken you. Every time you felt crushed, rejected, or overlooked, heaven was chiseling you into the very weapon of light that darkness fears. Stop doubting it. Stop convincing yourself that you are just one more face in the crowd. You are not. You are chosen. You are set apart. And the summons over your life is not small. It is to step forward, to rise with courage, to hold up the light of God in the places where shadows still dominate. The call on your life cannot be silenced by circumstance, nor diminished by the opinions of people who never understood your fire. What has been whispered over you in secret is now breaking into the open. You were destined to be a carrier of freedom. Chains will fall where you step, and hope will awaken where you speak. Even the places of your greatest pain will become altars of testimony for those still wandering in the dark. Listen carefully now, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. This is not only a poetic word, it is a direct commissioning. When you rise, others will rise. When you shine, others trapped in despair will see the way forward. You are the vessel through which hope will walk into rooms that have known only grief. Think about your story. Every scar, every sleepless night, every tear no one saw. They are not wasted. They have shaped you into someone who can understand the cries of the broken. Others cannot always see pain behind fake smiles, but you can, because you've been there. And when you speak, your words carry the weight of someone who has survived the furnace. That is why the enemy tried so hard to silence you. That is why discouragement comes like waves, trying to drown your voice. But the very fact that you are still standing proves that you are unstoppable. Chosen one. Your destiny is not only about you, it is about those waiting for your obedience. There are people chained in shadows who will never taste freedom unless you step into your calling. You are the answer to someone else's prayer. You are the light someone is crying out for. Heaven is depending on your yes. Do not underestimate the urgency of this moment. Every second you delay, darkness celebrates. But every step you take toward your calling, the kingdom of God advances. This is why you cannot afford to live half awake. This is why compromise will cost too much. And this is why you must rise now. Hear me. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move even when fear screams the loudest. Leadership is not about perfection. Leadership is about obedience. You will not have every answer, but you will have the presence of the one who called you. And that presence is enough to split seas, to calm storms, and to break chains. Let this sink in. When you walk into a room, darkness loses its grip. Your presence is disruptive to despair. You carry a light that cannot be extinguished. You are not overlooked in heaven. You are not abandoned. You are appointed, anointed, and now summoned to rise. Chosen one. If these words burn in your spirit, do not let them pass by like another fleeting message. This is divine intervention. Type in the comments right now the number 777 as a prophetic act, declaring, I accept my calling. And if you have not yet subscribed, do it now. Stay connected, because your journey has only just begun. There is more revelation, more strength, more direction waiting for you. Beloved, this is your moment. Rise, shine, lead. Others are waiting. Chosen one, lean in closely now. You carry scars that few understand. Some see only the surface of your story, but beneath it runs the depth of battles fought in silence. You have walked through valleys that others could not survive, and though they left their marks upon you, they did not destroy you. Instead, those wounds became the very evidence of your survival. The testimony that you have walked through fire and come out still breathing. Every mark you bear is more than a memory of pain. It is a credential of authority. The world tries to convince you that scars are signs of weakness, something to hide. But heaven declares otherwise. Your scars are proof that you lived through what was meant to break you. They are the map that will guide others who stumble in the same dark places you once knew. What the enemy tried to use to silence you has instead become the very story that will rescue the broken. Think about it. How could you speak healing to the wounded if you had never bled? How could you stand beside the rejected if you had never felt the sting of rejection yourself? How could you point someone to freedom if you had never been bound? Your scars are not mistakes. They are the fingerprints of God's mercy. Proof that grace has carried you where strength alone could not. Do you see it now? Those nights of anguish, those days when despair pressed heavy on your chest, they have become part of your authority. Because of what you endured, you carry compassion that cannot be faked. When you see someone struggling, you know the weight of that silence. You recognize the language of hidden pain, and in that recognition, you carry the power to speak life where others only speak pity. Chosen one. Stop cursing your scars. Stop wishing your past away. For it is written in the Apostles' letter, 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 24, by his wounds you have been healed. If the very Son of God bore wounds that became the channel of healing, then why would your scars be any less purposeful? What was once a site of bleeding becomes a place of testimony. Healing flows through the very marks you once thought were shameful. You must understand this. People are waiting for the story only you can tell. Someone's breakthrough is tied to your willingness to speak of what you survived. Your silence may feel safe, but it leaves others wandering in confusion, believing they are alone. But when you open your mouth and reveal your scars, chains break. Hearts realize they are not forsaken. Courage stirs. Hope rises. And when you lead with transparency, you will find that your scars don't repel people. They attract them, not because they are drawn to your pain, but because they see the light of resilience in you. They see the fingerprints of God in the places where you should have been finished. That is why your story cannot stay hidden. That is why your testimony must be spoken. There will be those who try to dismiss your scars. Some may mock you, Some may doubt you, but do not let their shallow judgments silence the depth of your truth. You do not need the approval of those who have never walked your path. You carry heaven's seal, and that is enough. Even now, think of the moments that shaped you, the rejection that nearly crushed you, the betrayal that pierced you, the loneliness that hollowed you out. Pain taught you what comfort truly means. Loss gave you eyes to see the grieving. Struggle opened in you a well of compassion. And now, the very things that once made you weep will make others rise. Chosen one, you must wear your scars as a crown, not as chains. They do not bind you, they empower you. They do not define your weakness, they declare your strength. Every scar is a reminder that you are still standing, that you are still chosen, that the darkness did not win. And when you stand before those who feel hopeless, your presence will say what words cannot. I have been where you are, and there is a way out. Let this truth take root in you. Scars are not signs of defeat. They are the ink with which your victory is written. They are the visible evidence that pain is not the end of the story. In God's hands, even the ugliest wounds become vessels of beauty. What once brought shame now becomes a doorway to healing. So rise with boldness. Chosen one, do not cover what God has redeemed. Do not silence what God has transformed. Your scars are the sermon the world needs to hear. Let them shine as proof that light always triumphs over darkness, that grace is stronger than sin, and that healing is stronger than despair. Chosen one, there are moments in your journey when silence seems endless and loneliness presses in like a suffocating fog. It is in these hidden places, in the furnace of solitude, that God does his deepest work. People may have walked away. Opportunities may have slipped through your hands. Even the prayers you whispered may have seemed to echo back unanswered. But what feels like abandonment is actually refinement. The furnace you are walking through is not to consume you, but to shape you into the vessel that can carry the weight of destiny. You must not misinterpret the quiet seasons. When the heavens seem still, it is not neglect, it is preparation. Diamonds form under pressure. Gold is refined by fire. And leaders are shaped in obscurity. The call upon your life is too great to be forged in shallow waters. That is why your trials have been deep, your nights long, your tears uncounted. Every moment has been intentional, even when you could not see it. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. What you call delay is heaven's strategy. Had you been elevated too soon, the weight would have crushed you. But in the furnace, your endurance is stretched, your faith purified, your compassion enlarged. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Consider the words written by the psalmist. Psalm chapter 66, verse 10. For you, God, tested us, you refined us like silver. Do you see it? The test is not the end, it is the shaping process. Silver does not complain when the fire burns, because the fire's purpose is not destruction, but purification. In the same way, your trials are not proof of God's absence, but of his investment in you. The quiet furnace has stripped you of false comforts. It has taught you that human applause is fleeting and that true strength cannot be borrowed from others. It has forced you to find your anchor in God alone. And though it has felt unbearable at times, you are coming out with a resilience that nothing and no one can take away. Others will look at you and see only the shine. They will not understand the fire that produced it. but you will never forget, and that memory will keep you humble, compassionate, and grounded. You will not look down on the broken, because you have been broken. You will not despise the weak, because you have tasted weakness. This is why your leadership will not crush others, but lift them. Do not despise the hidden season. Chosen one. It is a holy classroom. Though it feels like a wilderness, it is here that you learn to hear the faintest whisper of the Spirit. Here that you discover the stillness where clarity is born. Here that you learn to walk by faith when sight is denied. What feels like the end is the womb of your beginning. And yet, I know the ache of the furnace. I know the questions that gnaw at your soul. Why me? Why so long? Why so hard? Hear me, the questions are not a sign of weakness. They are the proof of your humanity. But the furnace teaches you this: even unanswered questions cannot cancel answered promises. Even when you do not know why, you can know who. Chosen one. Your story is being written in fire, and fire writings are not erased easily. You are being forged for a future you cannot yet imagine. Others may rise quickly and fall just as fast, but you will endure. Others may shine briefly and then fade, but your light will last, because it was lit in the furnace where nothing superficial survives. So stand firm. Do not curse the process. What you are becoming is greater than what you have lost. The quiet furnace is your training ground, and soon the silence will break into song. Now, I want you to mark this moment as an act of faith. In the comments, type these 3 words: I am ready. Do not take them lightly. By writing them, you are declaring to yourself and to heaven that you will not despise the furnace, but embrace it. You are announcing that you understand the pain is shaping you, the silence is sharpening you, and the fire is preparing you. And every time you feel weary, remember what you typed, your prophetic declaration that readiness is stronger than fear. Chosen one. The furnace is not forever, but the strength it gives you will remain eternal. When you step out, others will marvel at the shine, but you will know that the secret was never in the shine itself. It was in the fire that no one else saw. Chosen one. The gift within you is not only strength, it is sight. You are being trained to see what others cannot, to discern the hidden traps, and to hear the cries that remain unspoken. Many walk blindly through the world, distracted by noise, chasing illusion, yet unable to perceive the spiritual battles swirling around them. But you, because of the calling marked upon your life, are being awakened to another layer of reality. This awakening often feels like a burden. You notice the heaviness in people's words, even when they laugh. You sense when something is off, though everyone else calls it normal. You detect the spiritual weight in an atmosphere, and though others shrug it off, you cannot ignore it. That sensitivity is not an accident. It is the sharpening of your spirit to guide you in leading others out of darkness. Sometimes you have questioned yourself, why do I feel things no one else feels? Why do I see danger where others see comfort? Why do I hear whispers in silence? Do not mistake these questions as signs of strangeness. They are confirmation that your sight is not ordinary. The Spirit has entrusted you with the ability to perceive beyond the surface. Chosen one. With sight comes responsibility. You cannot unsee what has been revealed. When you notice the snares of the enemy, it is not for curiosity, it is for intercession, for action, for leadership. You are not given this vision so you can boast. You are given it so you can guard. There will be times you must sound an alarm that others will resist. But obedience is greater than popularity. The safety of others may depend on your willingness to speak when silence feels easier. Do you remember how many times in your life you sensed danger before it appeared? The betrayal you felt long before the truth was spoken, the heaviness in your heart that preceded loss, the inner nudge that kept you from walking into traps. Those were not coincidences. They were evidence of your spiritual sight being trained. As it is written in the Gospel, John chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Lo, your sight is also tender. You recognize not only snares, but also silent cries. You can hear the pain behind cheerful words. You can see the brokenness hidden behind a strong face. This gift is not to condemn, but to comfort. Not to expose, but to restore. Where others judge, you will embrace. Where others overlook, you will notice. Your very presence becomes a sanctuary for those who feel invisible. This is why the refining of your heart has been so intense. Sight without compassion becomes arrogance. But sight with compassion becomes healing. God has allowed you to be broken so that when you see brokenness in others, you respond with tenderness instead of pride. Every tear you shed in your hidden seasons has become the well from which you will draw understanding for others. Chosen one. The more you embrace this gift, the sharper it becomes. Discernment grows as you use it. Compassion deepens as you practice it. Light expands as you release it. But beware, sight also makes you a target. The enemy will try to cloud your vision, to overwhelm you with false signs, to drown you in noise. That is why your intimacy with God must remain your anchor. Only in His presence will you distinguish between His whisper and the lies of the enemy. Do not fear the responsibility that comes with your sight. It is not a curse, it is a commission to lead others out of darkness. You must first recognize the darkness for what it is. You must point out snares so that chains can be broken. You must expose lies so that truth can set captives free. You must notice wounds so that healing can flow. This is your mantle. Chosen one, to see what others miss and to act with wisdom. Never again believe you are strange for perceiving what others ignore. Never again apologize for your sensitivity. It is not weakness, it is your divine weapon. For every unseen cry you notice, for every trap you expose, for every shadow you shine light upon, the kingdom of darkness trembles. Your gift of sight is not just for yourself. It is for the ones walking blind, the ones lost in deception, the ones drowning in unspoken sorrow. You are called to lead them out. And you cannot lead without vision. That is why you see differently, why you feel deeply, why you know things before others realize them. It is not a curse, it is your crown. Chosen one. The first steps of deliverance are never easy. They are trembling steps. Like a child learning to walk for the first time. Unsteady, yet filled with destiny. You feel the pull of heaven calling you forward. Yet the weight of fear whispers in your ear. This is the tension of leadership. You are stepping into unfamiliar ground. And others are watching, waiting to see if you will stumble or soar. When you attempt your first rescue, it may not look perfect. Sometimes you will reach out to help, only to be misunderstood. Sometimes your hand extended in love may be slapped away. Do not let these early stumbles convince you to retreat. A child does not quit walking because of a fall. A gardener does not abandon the soil because the first seeds are slow to sprout. You, too, must persist. Deliverance is not instant perfection, it is patient courage. Picture a shepherd with 100 sheep. When one wanders into the dark valley, the shepherd does not sit back and say, "Perhaps it will find its own way." No, he leaves the 99 to chase the one. In the same way, you will feel compelled to leave your comfort to chase after those lost in shadows. It may look foolish to others, but heaven applauds such pursuit. Your first steps of deliverance will test you. You will learn the timing of compassion, when to speak and when to stay silent. You will discover the power of mercy, the strength of gentleness, and the courage to confront lies with truth. Do not despise these small beginnings. They are the seeds of the great calling upon your life. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Psalm chapter 27, verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Carry these words with you. Fear will always try to whisper that you are unqualified, too broken, too inexperienced. But if the Lord is your light, then even your trembling steps will shine in the darkness. Chosen one, think of your life as a lamp, alone. The lamp gives off a small glow, just enough to push back a little darkness. But when others gather, when multiple lamps are lit, the night begins to look like day. This is what happens when you step forward and allow others to see your light. It sparks courage in them to shine as well. One lamp becomes a lantern, then a bonfire, then a beacon that no darkness can extinguish. And here is where I must speak plainly, yet tenderly. Just as a lamp needs oil to keep burning, this message, this mission, requires support to continue flowing into the lives of others. If the light you receive here strengthens you, consider sharing that light with someone else. A simple gesture, clicking like, sharing this message with a friend, subscribing so you never miss the next word. These are not empty actions. They are ways of saying, I value the light, and I want it to spread. Oh, think of it as planting seeds in fertile ground. When you like or share, you are scattering seeds of hope into hearts you may never meet. When you subscribe, you are choosing to remain by the fire, refusing to drift back into cold shadows. And for those who feel stirred to go even deeper when you give, when you donate, it is like pouring oil into the lamp so the flame does not flicker out. It is not about money. It is about fueling the light that is changing lives, including yours. Do not underestimate the power of these simple acts. Just as the widow's small jar of oil sustained a prophet, your simple act of generosity sustains a message that carries deliverance into countless souls. Every gesture becomes part of the fire, every offering part of the flame. Chosen one, your first steps may feel small, but heaven sees them as mighty. You are stepping into your role not only as a survivor, but as a deliverer. Others will watch your courage and find their own. Your light will call them out of hiding. Your words will break chains. Your compassion will heal wounds. And the more you walk, the steadier your steps will become. So rise now with confidence. Hold your lamp high. Take your first steps boldly, knowing that the same God who called you is the one who walks beside you. You will stumble, but you will not fall. You will tremble, but you will not be forsaken. You will feel weak, but strength will rise within you. And with each step, You will grow into the leader heaven has chosen you to be. Chosen one. There comes a moment when mercy feels as though it has withdrawn. You pray, and the silence lingers. You knock, but the door seems closed. You wait for rescue, but it does not arrive in the way you imagined. This is the edge of faith, where your comfort ends and obedience alone must carry you. Many turn back at this place. Many surrender to despair. But not you. You are called to stand, even when the wind howls and the heavens are still. This is not punishment. It is the proving ground of your trust. When all safety nets are gone, you discover whether you lean on God out of convenience or conviction. You learn whether you follow Him for blessings or for His presence alone. These are the nights when you wonder if He still sees you. The days when you ask if He still remembers. And yet, through the silence, heaven is watching. It was declared in the Apostles' letter, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, we walk by faith, not by sight. This is the banner over your season. When your eyes see nothing changing, when your heart feels heavy, when the world mocks your hope, faith keeps walking. Sight says, there is no way forward. Faith says, God has already made the way. And chosen one. Standing when mercy seems withdrawn requires a different kind of courage. It is the courage of the soldier who continues marching even when the commander's voice is out of earshot. It is the courage of the sailor who trusts the compass when the stars are hidden behind clouds. It is the courage of the farmer who plants seed though the sky is dry. You are being trained in this very courage. Do not confuse silence with abandonment. A teacher is often quiet during the test, but his presence is still in the room. In the same way, God's silence is not His absence. He is watching to see if you will trust the word He already gave you. He is waiting to see if you will cling to His promises even when feelings fade. Remember the wilderness journey of Israel. They cried out for food and water, and sometimes it seemed as though heaven delayed. Yet the manna came. The water flowed from the rock. The promise was never abandoned, it was unfolding. You, too, are in such a journey. The silence is not forever, but it is essential for shaping your faith into something unshakable. Chosen one. You will face moments when everything in you wants to quit. You will feel the weight of voices saying, "It's not worth it." You will be tempted to believe that God has turned His face away. But listen, faith that survives silence is the faith that moves mountains. Faith that endures when mercy feels far is the faith that shakes the gates of hell. Your obedience in this season is not only about you. Others are watching, some silently, some openly. They are waiting to see whether your faith is shallow or steadfast. When you keep standing, when you keep believing, your life becomes a living sermon. Without speaking a word, you declare, "I will not bow. I will not give in. I will trust Him." Even here, none. You may not realize it, but your perseverance will become someone else's reason not to give up. The very sight of you holding fast will light courage in their hearts. This is why you must not quit. Your stand is not only for you, it is for generations, yet unborn, who will walk in the path you kept open. Chosen one. I ask you now to mark this moment with a prophetic act. Write in the comments the number 444. It is a declaration that though mercy feels delayed, you are standing firm. It is a symbol of stability, of faith that does not collapse. By typing it, you proclaim, I will walk by faith, not by sight. I will endure until the promise breaks through. Let it be your banner in this season. The silence will not last forever. The same God who seemed quiet will thunder again. The same heaven that felt distant will draw near. The same heart that felt weary will be renewed. Your job is not to figure out when your job is to stand until the breakthrough comes. Chosen one. Mercy may feel as though it has withdrawn, but grace has not. Hope has not. The presence of God has not. Hold steady. Keep walking. Keep standing. The silence is shaping you into one who will never be moved by shadows again. And when mercy flows afresh, you will look back and see that even in the silence, you were never alone. Chosen one. You are learning that authority is not found in titles, wealth, or position. True authority flows from the alignment of your spirit with the will of God. It is the kind of authority that causes chains to break, hearts to tremble, and darkness to scatter at the sound of your voice. But this authority is not automatic. It is discovered, tested, and refined through obedience. From your earliest steps, you have felt a fire in your words. Sometimes you spoke truth, and it unsettled people. Sometimes you offered encouragement, and it carried weight far beyond what you expected. That is because your tongue is not merely flesh, it is an instrument heaven is training. The words that pass through your lips are arrows. And the more you submit to the Spirit, the sharper and more precise they become. You must realize that authority is not volume. It is not how loudly you shout, but how aligned you are with God's heart. A whisper spoken with divine backing shakes more than a scream uttered in pride. Authority is not performance, it is presence. When you carry God's presence, even silence can preach louder than words. Chosen one. Do you remember the times when you spoke gently, yet the atmosphere shifted? Do you recall the moments when you simply prayed a few words, and burdens lifted from shoulders you could not see? This is the authority of God resting upon you. It is not your power, it is His Spirit flowing through you. That is why you cannot boast, but you can walk with holy confidence. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 29. Is not my word like fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks a rock in pieces? This is the nature of the authority given to you. When you speak His word, it burns away lies and shatters barriers that seem unmovable. You do not need cleverness or human wisdom. You need surrender, so His fire can flow. Authority requires both boldness and tenderness. Boldness to declare truth when compromise is easier, and tenderness to speak with love when anger rises in others. Authority that lacks love becomes tyranny. Love without authority becomes weakness. But when authority and love are joined, chains break and hearts heal. This is the language you are learning to speak. Understand this. Your authority will be challenged. Darkness will whisper, "Who do you think you are?" People may scoff, saying, "You are not qualified to lead." Even your own mind may doubt. But authority is not about earthly validation. When God places His word in your mouth, the universe itself recognizes the sound of its author. Heaven backs you, and hell trembles. Chosen one. You will discover that words spoken in alignment can unlock destinies. You will speak encouragement, and weary souls will rise. You will declare freedom, and addictions will break. You will pronounce healing, and unseen wounds will mend. This is why your words must be guarded. Authority is not casual, it is sacred. Do not waste it on gossip or complaint. Train your tongue to be an altar, not a weapon of destruction. There will be times when silence will carry more authority than speech. When you refuse to argue, refuse to retaliate, and instead let peace reign. You reveal strength that words cannot. Silence held in the spirit speaks volumes. It says, "My confidence is in God, not in proving myself." This too is the language of authority. Chosen one. As you grow in this gift, you must remain rooted in humility. Authority is never meant to exalt you, but to serve others. Jesus himself carried the greatest authority, yet he washed the feet of his disciples. He could command storms, yet he chose to touch lepers. He could summon angels, yet he carried a cross. This is your model. Authority that stoops low, not to diminish its power, but to reveal its purity. Do not be afraid of your voice. You have been silent long enough. You have swallowed truth to keep peace. Dimmed your light to make others comfortable. But now is the time to rise and speak with the language heaven has placed in you. You will not always say what people want to hear, but you will say what they need to hear. And in time, they will recognize the fire and the hammer in your words. Chosen one. The authority you are stepping into will not only free others, but also sustain you. When storms rage, your own declarations of faith will anchor you. When shadows press in, your own words of truth will light the way. You will become both a carrier and a beneficiary of the authority you release. Never forget, this is not about eloquence, but essence. Not about sounding spiritual, but about being surrendered. The authority you are discovering is not manufactured by effort. It is birthed in intimacy with God. And as long as you stay near Him, your words will continue to burn like fire and break chains like a hammer. Chosen one. When light shines, it does not only draw the broken and the weary, it also attracts those who appear helpful but are not. As you step further into your calling, you will notice two streams flowing toward you, true allies, sent to strengthen your hands, and false lights, sent to distract or mislead. Both will smile. Both may use the right words, but their fruits will reveal their nature. This is one of the hardest lessons for those who lead. You are compassionate by design. Your heart longs to trust and embrace. Yet leadership demands discernment. Not every voice that praises you belongs near your heart. Not every hand that reaches out to help is guided by purity. Some come with hidden motives. Some are drawn to the glow of your anointing, but cannot endure the weight of its cost. The apostle warned of this when he wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 14, "For Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. Do you see, darkness does not always arrive cloaked in shadows. Often, it wears a smile, speaks softly, and pretends to carry truth. This is why discernment is vital for you. Chosen one. True allies will not flatter you endlessly. They will sharpen you. They will rejoice in your victories, but also confront you when you drift. They will not compete with your calling, but they will cover it in prayer. False lights, however, thrive on confusion. They whisper what you want to hear, but their presence drains your spirit. They demand recognition without sacrifice, influence without responsibility. You must learn to weigh the fruits. not the words. A tree is known not by how loudly it declares its roots, but by the sweetness or bitterness of its fruit. Pay attention to what grows around people. Do they leave peace, or do they stir strife? Do they encourage others, or do they secretly poison hearts? Do they carry humility, or are they desperate to be seen? These are the markers by which you discern. Chosen one. I know you have been wounded before by those you trusted. The sting of betrayal has taught you caution, and sometimes that caution feels like a curse. But do not let past wounds make you bitter. Discernment is not suspicion. It is wisdom, guided by the Spirit. You are not called to walk in paranoia, but in clarity. The Spirit within you will whisper when something is off. Trust that whisper, even when others dismiss it. Consider how Jesus himself walked among allies and false lights. He had disciples who loved him with pure devotion, and he also had Judas sitting at the same table. Yet he was never caught off guard, for his sight penetrated beyond appearances. You too are being trained to walk with open hands and guarded spirit, to love freely but discern carefully. The presence of false lights is not a sign of your failure, it is confirmation of your influence. Just as moths swarm to a flame, impostors swarm to genuine light. The brighter you burn, the more both true and false will be drawn to you. This is why you must anchor your trust, not in people, but in God. Allies will bless you. False lights will test you, but your foundation remains unshaken when it rests in Him. At times, you may feel the loneliness of this path. You will long for companionship that is safe, for shoulders that carry weight alongside you, and God will send such allies timely, faithful, steadfast. They may not be many, but they will be enough. Treasure them. Do not take them for granted. Water those relationships with honor, for they are rare jewels in a world of counterfeits. Yet even with true allies, remember this: they are gifts, not gods. Your strength must not depend entirely on them. Allies may falter. False lights may deceive. But God's presence remain constant. If all others fail, He will stand. And if all others walk away, He will remain. This is the assurance of the chosen one. You are never truly alone. Chosen one. Discernment is part of your armor. Without it, you will be vulnerable to every sweet-sounding lie. With it, you will walk confidently, knowing who to embrace and who to keep at a distance. This is not cruelty, it is stewardship. The vision placed inside you is too precious to be squandered on alliances that weaken your spirit. As you grow, you will also become a discerner for others. You will warn them of false lights that seek to devour. You will teach them to recognize the difference between genuine love and manipulative charm. And in doing so, you will not only protect yourself, but also shield those entrusted to your leadership. So, embrace this gift, even when it feels heavy. The Spirit who reveals truth will not fail you. The whispers of discernment are not imagination, they are your compass in a world filled with illusions. Trust them, walk with them, and let them guide you as you separate allies from false lights. Chosen one, you have already seen that your journey is not a quiet walk through peaceful fields, it is a battlefield. The moment you stepped into your calling, you became a target. The darkness does not fear those who sleep, but it trembles before those who awaken. That is why your struggles have felt so intense. Why temptations seem to pursue you. Why obstacles rise like walls against your every step. You are in the midst of spiritual warfare, and your awareness of this truth is the first step toward victory. Do not be surprised when resistance comes. Opposition is not proof that you are failing, it is proof that you are advancing. If the enemy were not threatened by you, he would leave you alone. But because your light disrupts his plans, he deploys schemes to distract, discourage, and disarm you. That is why you must remain sober and vigilant, not giving in to despair when battles grow fierce. It is written in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11, "Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the competently devil's schemes." These words are not poetic suggestions, they are commands for survival. Armor is not optional. Every soldier knows that to step onto the battlefield without protection is to invite destruction. In the same way, you cannot afford to walk unguarded through the spiritual storms around you. Consider what this armor means for you. The belt of truth keeps you from stumbling in lies. The breastplate of righteousness shields your heart from corruption. The shoes of peace anchor you firmly. Even when chaos rages, the shield of faith extinguishes flaming arrows meant to pierce your hope. The helmet of salvation guards your mind against despair. And the sword of the Spirit, God's word, cuts through every deception with piercing clarity. This is the equipment you must wear daily, not as ritual but as reality. Chosen one, do not think of warfare only as dramatic encounters with shadows. Warfare also comes in subtle whispers, doubt that creeps into your thoughts, temptations that tug at your flesh, distractions that lure your focus away. Sometimes the enemy does not roar, he whispers. Sometimes he does not strike, he lulls you into comfort until you forget the urgency of your calling. That is why discernment is your companion and vigilance your shield. Understand this, your battles are not just about you. When you fight, you are protecting the destinies of those you are called to lead. Every victory you claim in secret becomes a shield for those who will one day follow you. Every time you resist temptation, every time you silence doubt, every time you stand firm, you secure ground that others will inherit. This is why the war feels personal. But it is also generational. Chosen one, I know the fatigue of the fight. There are days when you wonder if you can endure one more blow, when your arms feel too weak to lift the shield, when the night seems endless. Yet remember, the battle is not yours alone. The Lord fights with you, and his strength is made perfect in your weakness. You were never meant to fight alone. You were meant to stand clothed in his power. There will be seasons when you feel surrounded, but do not forget, you are also surrounded by a greater host. Just as Elisha's servants' eyes were opened to see chariots of fire encircling them, your eyes too must be opened to the reality that heaven's armies march with you. You are not outnumbered. You are not overpowered. You are not abandoned. And now, chosen one, I invite you to respond with a declaration of war against despair. Type in the comments, "I stand firm." Let those 3 words be more than letters on a screen. Let them be your cry, your banner, your stance in this battle. By writing them, you align yourself with the truth that no scheme of darkness will uproot you, that your ground is secure, that your faith will not collapse under pressure. Every war leaves scars, but every scar tells a story of survival. You will not come out of these battles untouched, but you will come out undefeated. Your authority will deepen, your compassion will expand, your sight will sharpen, and those who watch your journey will see not only the wounds, but also the victories, and they will know that God Himself has fought through you. So, chosen one, lift your head, tighten your armor, grip your sword. This war is real, but so is your victory. You were chosen not to be crushed, but to conquer, not to cower, but to stand. And as long as you remain clothed in His strength, the gates of hell cannot prevail against you. Chosen one. Some of the deepest battles are not fought in public, but in silence, hidden in the corners of human hearts. There are men and women walking among us who carry wounds no one else can see. They wear smiles like masks, laugh in public, and succeed outwardly. But at night they bleed unseen tears. These are the hidden ones, the broken in secret, the weary who feel invisible. And it is into their shadows that you are being sent as a refuge. You have walked through pain yourself, and that experience has made you a safe place. Others may speak with knowledge, but you speak with understanding. Your very presence whispers, I see you. I know the weight you carry. You are not alone. This is the healing you bring, not only through words, but through being. For sometimes, it is not advice that heals, but presence. The psalmist wrote, Psalm chapter 147, verse 3, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. This is the mission you share. You will not heal by your own strength, but by carrying the presence of the one who binds wounds. The hidden ones do not need performance. They need authenticity. They do not need judgment. They need compassion. Think of yourself as a lantern carried into a dark cave. To those trapped in shadows, the first flicker of light feels like hope. They do not need the full blaze of the sun immediately. They need the gentle glow that helps them see the next step. You are that lantern. By showing kindness, by listening deeply, by refusing to rush people through their healing, you guide them out of darkness little by little. Chosen one. Your role is not only to rescue, but to restore. Imagine a garden where the soil is cracked and dry. If you simply throw seeds without tending it, nothing will grow. Healing requires cultivation. Patience is the water. Compassion, the sunlight. Truth, the seed. Over time, beauty emerges where barrenness once reigned. That is the work entrusted to you, to create spaces where the hidden ones can grow again. But listen closely, such work requires endurance. Healing is rarely instant. It may feel slow, frustrating, even thankless at times. You may pour into someone and see little change, yet do not despise the process. A tree does not grow overnight, but its roots deepen long before its branches stretch skyward. Trust that what you sow in tears will one day bloom in joy. Now, allow me to speak sincerely about something important. Just as a lantern needs oil to keep burning and a garden needs water to stay alive, this flow of messages also needs fuel to continue reaching the broken. If these words are stirring you, if they bring light into your night, consider how you can help the flame spread further. A simple act like clicking like is more than digital noise. It is a ripple of affirmation that says, "This light matters." Sharing this message is like carrying your lantern into another's cave, passing hope into hands you may never meet. Subscribing is choosing to stay close to the fire so you will not miss the next spark of encouragement. And for those whose hearts feel stirred to go deeper, to give, to donate, it is not a transaction, but an offering of oil that keeps the lamp burning. Think of it like this: when a traveler lights a torch at night, others can walk safely behind them. But if the flame dies, many stumble. When you donate, you are not simply giving, you are pouring oil into the flame that guides countless others. Your support keeps the torch lifted high, ensuring no one must stumble alone. Every seed you plant, whether by sharing, subscribing, or giving, becomes part of the harvest. You may never see the faces you impact, but heaven records it. The hidden ones, who feel forgotten, will encounter hope because of your act of generosity. In this way, you do not only receive healing, you become a healer. Chosen one. Never underestimate the quiet power of compassion. You may not preach to crowds or lead armies, but when you sit beside the broken, when you bind invisible wounds, when you carry the lantern of kindness into another's night, you fulfill the heart of God. That is deliverance. That is healing. That is leadership. So, walk gently, but carry your light boldly. You are the sanctuary the hidden ones have been searching for, and as you tend to their wounds, remember that your own scars have become your greatest tools of compassion. Chosen one. As the path of leadership stretches before you, you begin to see its hidden cost. Many dream of leading, imagining only honor and recognition. Yet true leadership rarely arrives dressed in glory. It comes clothed in loneliness, sacrifice, and trials that test the depths of your heart. To lead others out of darkness means carrying weight they cannot see and enduring misunderstandings they cannot comprehend. There will be times when those you help most will question your motives. You may pour yourself out like water, only to be accused of holding back. You may speak truth in love, yet be called harsh. You may extend mercy, yet be treated as weak. These contradictions are the price of walking where others cannot. Do not let resentment grow in your heart, for such trials are part of the refining fire that keeps your spirit pure. Fame is a subtle snare. As your light shines brighter, more eyes will turn toward you. Some will admire you, others will envy you. Both responses can wound if you are not rooted in humility. Admiration can tempt you to pride, while envy can tempt you to bitterness. The key is to remember that the calling was never about you. You are a vessel, not the source. You are the lamp, but He is the flame. The Gospel warns us with piercing clarity. Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? These words are not just for those chasing riches or power, they are for leaders like you, who must constantly choose between pleasing crowds and obeying God. The applause of men is fleeting, the approval of heaven is eternal. Chosen one. Leadership will also test your relationships. Some will distance themselves from you, unable to handle the weight you now carry. Others will cling to you for what they can gain, not for who you truly are. You may feel isolated, caught between those who misunderstand and those who use. In such moments, do not despair. Solitude is not always abandonment. It is sometimes God's way of reminding you to anchor yourself in Him alone. Another cost of leadership is the burden of responsibility. When others stumble, you will feel their pain. When they wander, you will grieve. When they flourish, You will rejoice. Their journeys will affect you deeply, for your heart is tied to theirs. This is both a blessing and a weight. You must learn to carry their struggles without being crushed, to lift their burdens without losing your strength. This balance comes only by leaning daily on God's Spirit, who alone is strong enough to bear it all. Beware also of the appetite for power. The enemy will whisper, "Take more, control more, dominate." But true leadership does not dominate, it liberates. It does not enslave, it frees. If ever you feel the pull to control rather than serve, remember the example of the one who washed his disciples' feet. Authority in the kingdom is not measured by how many bow to you, but by how many you lift. Chosen one, your scars will protect you from the corruption of pride. The memory of your own brokenness will remind you to lead with gentleness. Never forget where you came from. Never despise those who are still stumbling where you once fell. The moment you exalt yourself above others is the moment your authority loses its purity. The cost of leadership also demands sacrifice of comfort. While others rest, you will be called to pray. While others chase distractions, you will carry vision. While others settle for survival, you will press toward destiny. This is not punishment, it is privilege. To be chosen means to be entrusted with responsibility others cannot bear. But hear me, chosen one. Though the cost is high, the reward is greater. The joy of seeing captives set free, the beauty of watching broken hearts healed, the wonder of witnessing light flood places of despair. These are treasures no fame or wealth can equal. The sacrifices you make in secret will bloom into victories that echo into eternity. So do not grow weary in paying the price. Do not resent the isolation, the misunderstanding, or the hidden tears. Every tear waters the seeds of your destiny. Every sacrifice shapes your crown. Every step taken under the weight of leadership strengthens the foundation for those who will follow. Chosen one. The cost is real, but so is the calling. Carry it with humility. Endure it with patience, and embrace it with joy. For though the world may never fully understand, heaven watches, and the one who called you will never fail to strengthen you. Chosen one. There are doors that no human hand can open, and there are chains that no human strength can break. These are the realms of covenant and keys, realities, where heaven itself intervenes to align your path with divine authority. You are not simply walking by chance. You are moving according to promises written long before you drew your first breath. Think about it. Abraham walked under covenant, and generations after him inherited blessing because of it. David held covenant, and even when he stumbled, mercy preserved his lineage. Jesus spoke of keys, granting his followers the authority to bind and loose on earth as it is in heaven. And now, you stand in that same line. The keys of the kingdom are not metaphors. They are spiritual realities entrusted to the chosen, as it is written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. These words are not empty, they are a commissioning. You are not merely surviving life, you are unlocking destinies, opening doors for others, and shutting gates of darkness. Covenant means you are not fighting alone. When God covenants with you, His name is tied to your destiny. His reputation is invested in your journey. That is why the enemy cannot snatch you away. because God's promise is stronger than your weakness. Even when you falter, covenant restores you. Even when you are weary, covenant carries you. Keys, however, imply responsibility. A key unused is a key wasted. You are called not only to hold promises, but to act upon them. When you declare freedom, chains respond. When you speak truth, deception crumbles. When you intercede, doors swing wide. These are not exaggerations. They are the reality of kingdom authority. But chosen one. Keys must be guarded. They cannot be placed carelessly in the hands of those who seek power without purity. That is why your refining has been so intense. Only those who have walked through fire without letting their hearts harden can be trusted with such authority. Your scars, your tears, your endurance, they are proof that you will not abuse what has been entrusted to you. You must also learn timing. A door opened too soon can harm more than help. Just as a child cannot drive though they hold the potential, you must wait for God's timing to use certain keys. Do not mistake delay for denial. The key is already in your hand, but heaven knows when the lock is ready. Look around at your journey. Doors that once felt sealed have already opened. Relationships you never expected. Opportunities that seemed impossible. Strength you could not summon. All of these are glimpses of the covenant and keys at work. And greater things are yet to unfold. Chosen one. Covenant assures you that you will not be abandoned. Keys assure you that you will not be powerless. Together, they make you unstoppable. When others crumble under pressure, you will endure. When others see only walls, you will see hidden doors. This is the authority resting upon your life. But now, pause for a moment. Mark this truth in your spirit with a prophetic act. Type in the comments the number 555. This number represents grace multiplied, covenant overflowing, and doors opening in divine timing. By writing it, you are declaring, I walk under covenant, and I hold the keys of the kingdom. Let it be your agreement with heaven, your visible sign of invisible alignment. Do not underestimate the significance of this act. Heaven responds to declarations made in faith. Just as the blood on Israel's doorposts marked them for protection, your public declaration marks you as one who agrees with God's promises. It is not superstition, it is faith in action. Chosen one. The days ahead will test your grip on these truths. Darkness will try to convince you that the keys are illusions, that the covenant is broken. Do not listen. God does not break his word. He does not withdraw his promises. What he has entrusted to you cannot be revoked by the whispers of the enemy. Walk boldly. Then, carry your keys with reverence. Wield them with wisdom. And stand secure in your covenant. When storms rage, covenant will anchor you. When gates rise against you, keys will unlock the way forward. You are not wandering aimlessly, you are moving under divine alignment. Chosen one. Deliverance is more than moments of breakthrough. It is more than chains snapping in an instant or blind eyes suddenly seeing. Those miracles are real, but they are not the full picture. Deliverance must become sustainable, and for that, restoration is required. Restoration is not about one moment. It is about building something that lasts. Something that can hold the weight of freedom. Imagine a house that has been broken into. The door is repaired. The window replaced. but if the foundation is cracked, it will crumble again. In the same way, a life touched by freedom must be rebuilt with care. Restoration is the strategy of heaven. And you, chosen one, are being called to this work. Your calling is not only to break chains, but to build communities. Not only to heal wounds, but to create safe spaces where wounds can fully close. Like a gardener tending a neglected field, you are not satisfied with pulling out weeds. You prepare the soil, plant new seeds, and water them until fruit grows. This is the deeper work of your calling, the creation of structures that sustain healing long after the initial miracle. The prophet Isaiah wrote with powerful clarity, Isaiah chapter 61, verse 4, "They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. They will renew the ruined cities that have been devastated for generations." This is the vision of restoration. It is not simply about individual survival, it is about generational renewal. What was broken for decades can be rebuilt. What was barren for centuries can bloom again. Chosen one. Restauration requiert patience. You cannot rush the healing of deep wounds. Some people will resist rebuilding because they are used to ruins. Darkness teaches people to settle, to believe that devastation is their only option. But you will carry the persistence of the builder, refusing to give up until beauty rises where ashes once lay. You will not only comfort the broken, but also teach them how to walk in their new freedom. You will create rhythms of prayer, patterns of wisdom, and habits of discipline that anchor people in the light. For freedom without structure often collapses into chaos. But freedom, anchored in restoration, becomes a foundation for generations. Think of the early church. They did not only preach, they formed communities. They shared bread, bore one another's burdens, and taught the next generation to walk in truth. This is your blueprint. Miraculeuse ignite faith. But restoration sustains it. You are called to be both a spark and a builder, both a healer and a strategist. Restoration also means reclaiming what was stolen. Lives broken by addiction, families torn by betrayal, communities fractured by injustice. These are ruins that can be rebuilt. Where bitterness reigned, forgiveness can take root. Where fear dominated, courage can flourish. Where despair lingered, hope can rise. This is not wishful thinking, it is the promise of restoration. Yet, chosen one, restoration is costly. Builders grow weary, plowers blister their hands. Planters often work for months before seeing fruit. You must be prepared for long seasons where progress feels slow, where results are hidden underground. But trust this, every seed you plant, every stone you lift, every tear you shed becomes part of the new foundation heaven is laying. Do not despise small beginnings. A single act of kindness can ripple for generations. A single word of truth can plant courage in a heart that will one day lead nations. Restoration might begin quietly, but its impact grows beyond measure. Chosen one, your role in restoration will stretch you. It will call you to think beyond yourself, beyond today, beyond comfort. You will be asked to invest in futures you may never fully see. Like Moses leading Israel toward a promised land he would not enter, you may lay foundations that others will complete. Do not be discouraged. Your obedience is never wasted. Remember, the ruins you are called to restore are not random. They are connected to your own scars. The places where you were broken, are often the very places you are called to rebuild for others. Your past pain becomes your present blueprint. What once crushed you now equips you. What once silenced you now strengthens your voice. So, step into the work of restoration with steady hands and patient heart. Do not measure success by speed, but by depth. Do not seek applause, but seek fruit. And know that every brick you lay, every seed you plant, every soul you nurture is part of a greater city, rising one that darkness cannot destroy. Chosen one. There comes a season in every destiny when the refining fire becomes more than trials. It becomes an all-consuming test. This is the trial by fire. The place where everything you are, everything you believe, and everything you carry is laid bare. It is not a gentle lesson, but a furnace hotter than any you have known. It feels catastrophic, as though the ground beneath your feet has split open and every certainty has crumbled. Do not be deceived into thinking this fire is random. It is appointed. It is not designed to destroy you, but to reveal what cannot be shaken. When gold is tested, the flames consume impurities that no eye could see. The metal may look pure to men, but the fire knows better. In the same way, you may have walked faithfully, yet hidden places in your heart still need cleansing. Only fire can expose them, and only fire can consume them. Think of Job, stripped of possessions, family, health, and reputation. The trial he endured was not punishment, but revelation. In the ashes of his loss, he discovered a depth of God he had never known before. This is the paradox of the furnace. What it burns away is nothing compared to what it awakens. It was declared long ago in the writings of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Notice the promise. It does not say you will avoid the fire. It says you will survive it. You will emerge without being consumed, though everything unnecessary around you is stripped away. Chosen one. The trial by fire tests whether your faith is built on convenience or covenant. It reveals whether you cling to God's hand for blessing or for love itself. Many will not endure such tests. They will retreat, curse heaven, or surrender to despair. But you are not among them. You were chosen precisely because you can withstand what others cannot. This fire also exposes your motives. Do you lead for applause? Or do you lead for truth? Do you speak because you are compelled by compassion, or because you crave recognition? These are not easy questions, but the flames demand honest answers. The trial consumes pretense, leaving only purity. And yes, the fire hurts. It strips comfort. It met preux. It burns away illusion. You will feel the ache of loss, the sting of betrayal, the silence of unanswered prayers. But the very pain you feel is proof that the fire is working. Every tear becomes water, quenching impurities. Every groan becomes the hammer shaping your endurance. Chosen one. Do not confuse pain with abandonment. The presence of fire does not mean the absence of God. In fact, He is closest in the furnace. Did He not walk with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the flames? Did not the form of the fourth man appear, radiant and unconsumed, in the midst of the blaze? In the same way, He is with you now, not outside the fire, but within it. The trial by fire will also reveal your voice. In comfort, words are easy. In fire, words are costly. You will learn to speak less, but with greater weight. You will discover that silence, when born of endurance, carries authority greater than 1,000 speeches. Fire refines not only your heart, but your language. When you emerge, and you will emerge, you will not look the same. The smell of smoke will not cling to you. The ashes will not define you. Instead, there will be a glow upon you, a radiance born only in those who have endured the unendurable. Others will recognize it. They will not know all you suffered, but they will see the fire in your eyes, the steadiness in your steps, the purity in your presence. Chosen one, this is not the end of your story. It is the turning point. The fire you endure now is preparing you for crowns you cannot yet imagine. It is forging you into a leader whose voice carries eternal weight. The flames you curse today will become the glory others admire tomorrow. So stand firm. Do not run from the furnace. Do not despise the fire. Let it do its work. For when it is finished, you will shine with a brilliance that darkness cannot withstand. Chosen one, there comes a moment when all the hidden preparation, all the refining fire, and all the unseen battles converge into a crowning season. This is not only about recognition, it is about confirmation. Heaven confirms what has already been planted within you, and the world begins to see what heaven has known all along. Your scars become your credentials. Your endurance becomes your testimony, and your obedience becomes your crown. Imagine a runner who has trained in obscurity for years. No crowds watched as they gasped for breath. No applause echoed as they pushed through pain. No spotlight shone as they stumbled and rose again. Yet the moment of the race arrives, and suddenly the years of hidden training bear fruit in public. That is what crowning feels like. What was private becomes visible. What was hidden is revealed. It is written in the Psalms of David. Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Anointing is not just a ritual, it is a declaration. Oil upon the head is heaven's way of saying, this one is chosen. This one carries my authority. This one will lead in my name. When God anoints, He also overflows. Your life begins to spill into others. Your cup is not only full, but abundant. Chosen one. This crowning season is not for your vanity, but for your mission. A crown is not a decoration, it is a responsibility. It means you are entrusted to carry more weight, to influence more lives, to shine more light. And with every crown comes both beauty and burden. Beauty in the honor of carrying glory, burden in the responsibility of stewarding it well. This is also the moment when your influence grows. More eyes watch. More voices echo your words. More hands reach for your guidance. With visibility comes vulnerability. Just as a tree taller than the rest faces stronger winds, you too will feel greater resistance. But remember, the roots grown in your hidden seasons are what will keep you steady now. Think of your life as a lighthouse on a rocky shore. Ships lost in storms, look for your light to guide them to safety. Your crown is the lamp that shines farther than before. But the lighthouse does not exist for itself. It does not admire its own light. It simply shines for the sake of others. This is your calling in this season, to shine, not for self, but for those navigating their storms. And now, let me speak with sincerity. Just as a crown must be polished, just as a lamp must be fueled, so too this work must be sustained. If these words are nourishing you, if they are guiding you, consider how you might keep the flame burning. A simple act, liking this message, is like adding a drop of oil to the lamp. Sharing it is like extending the light to another shore. Subscribing ensures you remain close to the lighthouse, never drifting back into the dark sea. And for those who feel stirred to give, to donate, understand this: it is like placing gold upon the crown, not for ornament, but for durability, so the weight of the mission can endure. Every small action you take becomes part of this crowning season. You are not only receiving light, you are multiplying it. You are not only being led, you are helping lead others. Heaven honors even the smallest act of partnership, because each one fuels the mission of deliverance and restoration. And, chosen one, do not forget to mark your voice here. Leave a comment below. Share what resonates, what strikes your heart, what confirms your journey. Your words may be the echo someone else needs to hear. Just as iron sharpens iron, your testimony may strengthen another who reads it in their midnight hour. Do not underestimate the ripple of your comment. It may reach farther than you imagine. Crowning is not only about being lifted up, it is also about lifting others. When the oil flows down your head, it does not stop with you. It drips onto your shoulders, your garments, and eventually the ground beneath your feet. Those near you cannot help but be touched. That is the overflowing nature of your season. Chosen one, embrace this moment with humility and gratitude. Do not shrink from it, and do not idolize it. Walk steadily, knowing the crown is not your achievement, but your assignment. And as you wear it, let every step remind you of the sacred weight upon your head, the weight of light, the weight of love, the weight of leadership. Chosen one, no leader can hold the torch forever. The crown upon your head, the oil upon your life, the authority flowing through your voice, all of these are entrusted to you for a time, but never for you alone. Leadership is not hoarding, it is sowing. To fulfill your calling, you must not only rise yourself, but also raise others. This is the sacred act of passing the torch. You have carried fire through storms and shadows. You have endured nights of silence and days of testing. Now others walk behind you, watching, learning, longing for guidance. They see the scars on your hands, the steadiness of your stride, and they begin to believe they too can endure. This is your legacy, not only the victories you win, but the warriors you shape. Passing the torch requires humility. It means recognizing that your voice is not meant to be the only voice. Your light is not meant to be the only flame. You must train others to see, to speak, to lead, like Moses, raising Joshua, like Elijah, mentoring Elisha. You are called to pour yourself into those who will continue the work long after your steps fade. The Apostle Paul spoke this clearly in his letter to Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. The things you have heard from me in presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable people who will be qualified to teach others. This is multiplication, not addition. Leadership that hoards dies with one person, but leadership that invests multiplies into generations. Chosen one, to pass the torch does not mean you are finished. The runner who hands the flame in a relay still runs their leg with excellence. It simply means you recognize the race is longer than your lifetime, and the mission bigger than your name. The torch is not yours to keep, it is yours to protect until the next hands are ready. Training others will test your patience. They will stumble as you once stumbled. They will doubt themselves as you once doubted. At times, you may wonder if they are ready, if they are listening, if they truly carry the weight of the mission. But do not give up. Seeds do not sprout overnight, and apprentices do not mature in a day. Trust the process, and remember how long it took for you to rise. Passing the torch also requires discernment. Not everyone who asks for your flame is prepared to carry it. Some will crave the spotlight, but resist the cost. Others will admire the crown, but despise the scars. Your task is to identify those who are faithful, humble, and willing to endure the hidden places. It is not about gifting alone, but about character. The fire must be protected from hands that would misuse it. There will be moments when releasing the torch feels like loss. A part of you may fear becoming irrelevant, unseen, forgotten. But this is the lie of pride. In truth, when you multiply your flame, your legacy grows, not diminishes. A single candle can light 1,000 others without losing its own glow. So too, your influence will spread as you entrust the fire to others. Chosen one. This is also an act of trust in God. You will not always be able to control how others carry the flame. Some will shine brightly. Some may falter. Some may surprise you with strength you never expected. Your role is not to micromanage, but to release with prayer, to cover with intercession, to trust that the same God who shaped you will also shape them. And as you pass the torch, something remarkable will happen. You yourself will be renewed. Seeing others rise will remind you that your labor was never in vain. Watching them step into their own authority will refresh your spirit, as if the fire burns brighter in you again. Legacy is not about endings, but about continuation. Chosen one. Do not fear this stage of your journey. Embrace it with courage. You are not diminishing, you are multiplying. You are not stepping aside, you are stepping higher into the role of a father, a mother, a mentor in the spirit. The kingdom does not measure greatness by how long you hold the flame, but by how many you ignite. So keep running, but begin lifting others. Teach them what scars have taught you. Show them how to walk through fire without being consumed. Remind them that the crown is weighty, but it is worth carrying. And when their time comes to hold the torch, bless them as you continue onward, knowing the light is safe in their hands. Chosen one. After all the fires, after all the battles, after the scars and the crowns, there comes a dawn. This is not merely a personal sunrise, but a kingdom dawn, a shift that extends beyond your own life and spills into the landscape around you. You were never chosen only for yourself. You were chosen for a movement. And now that movement begins to break the horizon. Look back for a moment. The valleys you trudged through, the nights you thought would consume you, the silence that pressed against your prayers, none of it was wasted. Every hidden tear watered seeds you could not see. Every scar became a map for those who follow. Every test refined you into a vessel capable of carrying light without breaking under its weight. Now, as the dawn rises, you begin to see how each piece fits into a greater design. The kingdom dawn is marked not by noise, but by transformation. darkness begins to lose its grip, not because it retreats willingly, but because light proves irresistible where despair once ruled. Hope now breathes where bondage seemed unshakable. Freedom dawns where silence suffocated. Songs of deliverance rise. This is the shift you were born to usher in. The book of Revelation proclaims this reality with thunder. Revelation chapter 11, verse 15. The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah, and he will reign forever and ever. This is the anthem of your dawn. It is not only about personal victory, but about heaven's rule breaking into earth's shadows. Chosen one. The dawn does not erase the night, it redeems it. The memories of pain remain, but they no longer sting, they testify. The scars are still visible, but they no longer bleed, they shine. The trials are not forgotten, but they are reframed as stepping stones toward glory. Dawn transforms even your darkest chapters into evidence of redemption. Others will look at you and see not only a survivor, but a leader who has carried fire into their lives. They will not only thank you for your words, but for your endurance, your faith, your refusal to surrender. What you lived through becomes a path others can walk with greater ease. Your story becomes a lantern guiding them into their own dawn. The kingdom dawn is also generational. The seeds you planted will outlive you. The ones you trained will train others. The torch you passed will continue to ignite fires across the land. Long after your footsteps fade, your impact will echo. This is the nature of the kingdom. It multiplies. It expands. It refuses to be contained. Do not expect this dawn to arrive without resistance. The moment light begins to spread, shadows fight harder to remain, but their fight is futile. Dawn is unstoppable. The sun does not ask permission to rise. It simply rises. In the same way, the movement you birthed cannot be silenced. It is fueled not by human strength, but by divine decree. Chosen one. Stand tall in this season. You are not only a recipient of light, you are a carrier of it. You are not only a witness of dawn, you are a herald of it. Your voice, your presence, your life declares. The night is ending, and the kingdom is here. Let your steps now be steady, not hurried. Dawn is not frantic, it is faithful. Each ray of light stretches slowly, deliberately, until the whole horizon glows. Likewise, the change you are part of may begin small, but it will grow until it blankets entire landscapes. Patience is still required, but hope is now visible, and when you feel weary, look to the horizon. Remember that the dawn does not depend on your strength, it depends on the one who set the sun in its place. The kingdom rising is not sustained by your power, but by his eternal reign. That truth frees you to walk with both humility and boldness, knowing the weight is carried by the King himself. Chosen one. This is your legacy, not a fleeting light, not a temporary spark, but a dawn that shifts nations and generations. You have been faithful in hidden seasons, steadfast in fire, courageous in leadership, and humble in passing the torch. And now the reward unfolds not only for you, but for all who will rise, because you chose to lead. Chosen one. The script comes to a close, but your journey does not. These words were never meant to be only a story for your ears. They are a mirror for your life. A reminder that you were chosen to carry light into shadows, to lead others into dawn. to bear the crown with humility and the scars with honor. Think of all that has been spoken, the awakening of your destiny, the furnace of testing, the authority in your voice, the allies and battles, the crowns and the torch. None of this is random, it is your commissioning. The kingdom dawn has begun, and you are part of it. Yet even the brightest flame needs fuel to keep burning. If this journey has stirred your heart, let your response be more than silent agreement. A simple gesture, a like, becomes a drop of oil that keeps the lamp glowing. Sharing this message is like placing a torch into another traveler's hands, guiding them through their night. Subscribing is like building your house close to the lighthouse, ensuring you never drift back into darkness. And if you feel led to give, to donate, know this: it is like pouring oil into the fire so that the light does not flicker but blazes brighter for many. Do not underestimate your comment either. When you write your reflection below, you are not only speaking for yourself, you are leaving a trail of light for someone who stumbles in silence, showing them they are not alone. So walk forward. Chosen one, carry the dawn into every place your feet touch. The world needs your light, your courage, your faith. The crown upon your head is not for display but for impact. Rise, shine, and lead.